Vibe marketing is about velocity. It's about building more with less, using AI, automations, and tools so that you can increase your output without increasing your headcount. So AI is doing the heavy lifting. And in 2025, with AI and automations, smart marketers are scaling their content with systems and not with more inputs. So what's great about Vibe marketing is that you're setting the intention, you're setting the output, and then you're creating the systems to do that automatically. In this video, I want to take you behind the scenes and show you the site that I'm building in real time. It's called vibemarketers.ai, and in a meta way, it is to share the playbooks and the tools that Vibe marketers use to Vibe market. So I'll show you the website really quickly. It is a Webflow site. So it's built on Webflow, the CMS. And the main goal is just to explore or include different playbooks. So how, for example, you can repurpose a YouTube video into an email, or how you can scrape content to for thought leaders in your industry and repurpose for your own use case, or how you can take one idea from one niche, scrape it, and then create it for another. There are infinite ways that you can use these AI and automation tools to be a better marketer and to be a Vibe marketer. And so that's the goal of the site, is that it will create these ideas, it will store them in these playbooks, and then there will also be tools. So you can see here that this is still very much a work in progress, still have the placeholder text, but I will fill this in. But some high level benefits is that it will be free. It will be focusing specifically on marketing, AI powered marketing for B2B founders and marketers. And then this is where I will have the playbooks. So let me show you here. This is the backend. This is Webflow itself. And so this is like an example of what the CMS will be, the item, and it will be actually pulling from Airtable. So Airtable is where I will store the ideas for the different workflows and the different tools. And it will, let me show you Webflow here. So this is the different workflows, and you can see that there are different columns here. So title, slug, summary, these are all kind of like the standard metadata for Webflow. And what's nice is the goal is that it would be programmatic SEO, meaning that there is a standardized template that I want to follow for these different workflows and these different tools. And I will use AI to create the specific content. If there is a specific workflow or a specific tool, it will find the content and it will create it, but it will be specific for that. It will still fall within a template, a standardized template, and then that template would fill in Airtable, and then from Airtable, it will be uploaded as a CSV into Webflow. So it might make a little bit more sense if we see the N8N. So N8N is a no-code builder. If you've heard of Zapier or Make, very similar. And the nice thing about N8N is it does make it very easy to build out these AI agents. And these agents, which you can see here, they have memory, which in this case we probably don't need. Memory is more helpful if there's an ongoing conversation, or they have tools and they are powered by AI models. So every tool or every agent has these three different components, and you can have multiple tools as well here. But to walk through the workflow at a high level, it will pull in from Airtable here, the workflow, and then it will, this is a repurposed N8N workflow, so I need to specify it for what I'm looking for in Vibe marketers, but it will have, each agent will have the instructions, and then it will pull in the topic. So in this case, it was like, what is Vibe marketing? But it would be the specific workflow or the specific tool. So in N8N, we would pull in the workflow or the tool. It would create the query for it. It would do research. So in this case, there are a couple tools that I might consider to do research. And the nice thing about these agents is they have tools, and the tools are like the capabilities of the agent, and we can make them whatever we want. In this case, I want to make sure that it can have access to the internet. And so for that to be helpful, there are a couple tools that I might use. Perplexity, which is an AI search engine. So you could ask anything, and this is in the chat interface. But they do have an API, and it's the same thing where you'd have the query that would come from N8N, and it would just make an API call to Perplexity, search the internet, and then use a large language model to summarize it and give it back within the template that I specify in the prompt. Another one might be Firecrawl. So Firecrawl is another way, but this is specifically built for large language models, and it can scrape based on a URL or based on a search query and give back the information that I want. So you can see that both of these tools are very interchangeable, but also helpful once I identify what the goal is, as in like what I'm searching for, and then it would follow the prompts to give me the output that I'm looking for. So if I want to say, how can I repurpose a YouTube video into an email, I can give the URL of the video, and then it can pull the transcript, and then take the transcript, maybe search online for other things, other relevant details, maybe expand the research, pull all the text back, and then reformat that into a format that matches what I'm looking for in the Vibe marketer's website. So this is kind of like at a high level how it would flow in N8N, and then ultimately I want to write it back into Airtable. So right now you see in Airtable, these are all blank, but N8N has the capabilities to update a record in Airtable, and I will do that, and then it will all periodically update into Webflow. One thing about the site is that I want to use this as a playground to learn more and test different strategies about large language models and how the content can be pulled in as a citation in these large language models like AI mode in Google or ChatGPT or Perplexity. So one thing that's helpful is the schema. So the schema is going to be helping the large language models understand what the content of the page is. And you do this with JSON. So the JSON LD will be a text field that I add here. And in this text field, I'll add JSON. So it will look like code to include more hints for the large language model or Google to understand the content of the page, and it will follow different formats. So for large language models, for example, the TLDR or the how-to are going to be important schema that I'll want to use, as well as the date updated, because the recency of when something is published is important, as well as the author. So to have that experience, the expertise, the authority and trust also correlates to having the author. So you can see here, this is how the structured data works. And you can just use ChatGPT or any other tool to create the JSON and paste it into that custom field in Webflow. And the reason why I'm using JSON LD is because it is what Google recommends. So you can see here in their Search Central blog, JSON LD is recommended. There are several different formats that you can use, but it is recommended because it is the easiest solution for website owners to implement and maintain at scale. So less prone to user errors, and it makes it easy. Like I said, you can just use ChatGPT to create the JSON. And so I'll show you how it actually appears, or how you can check to see if it is on your site. And so just taking some random blog, this is from SEMrush, using the detailed.com Chrome extension, totally free. I just have the Chrome extension installed in Chrome. And then looking here, you can see when you click the schema tab, you can see all the schema that's used on this page. And so it does have the, you can see the content type is schema.org. Let's see some of the other stuff that I was looking for, the author name, author URL, the genre, the description, and so some other things, some metadata that makes the page content easier for a large language model to ingest and understand. Another approach that I'm using in order to make this more likely to be ingested by a large language model is just to have the short, direct answers to any questions, then have it in a conversational style. So nothing too dense, something that can easily be cited and quoted by a large language model, that's something that has been proposed as a strategy to increase visibility in these large language models. So that really comes down to the prompting and also the editing, the human review afterwards to make sure that there is no jargon, that things are not at too high of a reading level or too complicated, and also relatively short and easy, so they're more likely to be cited. And another strategy or approach is to increase the internal links. And this happens kind of naturally with something like this. So you'll see here, there's some high-level filters that I set up. But for each of these, there will be naturally included internal links here. So there will be related playbooks, related tools. And another approach for just best practices in SEO and large language model visibility is to have very clear headers. So that the H1, the title of the page, the H2, which are the subheaders and the sections, I want to make them as clear as possible and as close to mimicking what a search query would be. And so that's important both in the prompt, the template, and then editing as I'm going through these that are published, that everything aligns to something that is easy to understand and increases the chances of being picked up and cited by a large language model. So that is my approach to vibe marketing and using systems, processes, AI agents and automations to increase output without increasing the amount of time or headcount required in order to create high quality content. So if you want to learn more about how to create a high quality blog post, the prompts and processes to do so, make sure to click the link and watch that video. Otherwise, I'll see you around as we build out our vibe marketing strategies.